Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Danny Laurel. Now here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate front. President Bongbong Marcos has arrived in Davos, Switzerland for this year's World Economic Forum. The president said there are no scheduled bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the event. He noted, though, that there could be informal talks with other heads of states and business leaders. The president also reiterated his plan to, quote, soft launch the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund. The Philippine delegation includes First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos, cabinet secretaries, and other officials.
Talk about the Philippines, what the situation is as an investment destination. Now, that's added to that, meron na tayong pwedeng pag-usapan na sovereign wealth fund. So sa Bicol, exactly. We are forming a sovereign wealth fund for investments in the basic areas such as agri, energy, digitalization, climate change.
Activists have also gathered in Davos to stage protests ahead of the World Economic Forum. Dozens of protesters were seen raising their placards and chanting slogans as they arrived by train. Their calls include significant tax increase for the rich and proper handling of climate change. They also urged leaders to address other issues like the rising cost of living and food shortage. Heads up, motorists, oil companies are set to hike fuel prices this week. Effective tomorrow, January 17th, prices of gasoline will increase by 95 centavos per liter. Diesel, on the other hand, will see an increase of 50 centavos per liter. The increase comes a week after oil companies slashed fuel prices on January 10th. The Customs Bureau seized smuggled agricultural products worth hundreds of millions of pesos over the weekend. This includes 4,000 metric tons of smuggled refined sugar from Thailand, confiscated at the port of Batangas. The sugar, which was packed in 80,000 bags, was estimated to be worth around 261 million pesos. The BOC also seized nearly 24 million pesos worth of refined sugar at the Manila International Container Port. The shipment has been traced back to Hong Kong. Authorities also confiscated assorted agricultural goods, including red onions, from 10 flight attendants of the Philippine Airlines. Further investigation is now underway for charges of smuggling against the 10 flight attendants who came in from the Middle East. Albay Representative Joey Salceda is calling on the DICT to reconsider the April deadline for SIM registration. Salceda said moving it earlier from the original June deadline is, quote, premature and not the right way to go. He added that cutting the registration short is a unilateral decision that the DICT is not within its bounds to make. Salceda then urged concerned authorities to stick to the 180-day period to give chance to non-smartphone users. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Dani Laurel. China reports that almost 60,000 people have died from COVID-related causes since early December, spurring new calls for the government to provide more data about the present COVID surge in the country. Emma O'Brien reports on Bloomberg TV.
Emma, so what are we expecting from China? Because we know that transparency with these numbers is not really a done deal in the country.
Yeah, that's right. So it is interesting that they have come out with the 60,000 number. It does suggest that they are recognising the pressure that they are getting, particularly from international bodies like the World Health Organization, from the US in particular, around their COVID data, which has basically been either non-existent or meaningless for the past month. That said, the number they have put out has immediately raised questions. When you're talking about 30 million new cases a day, which is what the government was talking internally about a couple of weeks ago, 60,000 cases a day is not a huge number and is well below some of the modelling that the likes of Barclays and others have done on the amount of deaths that are actually occurring in China. So lots of questions there.
Emma, and the details about the types of people that have suffered fatalities kind of fits in with the broader narrative about how COVID is not dangerous to the broader population, right? These are elderly people, and most of them, in fact, an overwhelming majority of them have these comorbidities.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a surprise given what we have seen when it comes to COVID fatalities elsewhere in the world. That most of these deaths that they're owning to are in over 80s, particularly when you think about how low comparatively China's vaccination and booster rate is when it comes to COVID vaccines. It's not a huge surprise that you would be seeing a lot of these people a lot of these fatalities being in that age group. And that is what we're hearing from our reporting on the ground, with the overwhelmed crematoriums, with people who can't get a slot for their elderly parents, and how they're being told they didn't die from COVID even though they were infected with it, but from these other comorbidities, as you mentioned.
Meanwhile, Philippine computer retailer Upson International will start its initial share sale in February. This after the company delayed its IPO in September of 2022. Upson plans to raise as much as 4.3 billion pesos by selling its shares at up to 5 pesos and 50 centavos each. Proceeds from the primary offer will be used to expand its store network as well as other general corporate purposes. Upson has a retail network of 200 brand outlets including Octagon Computer Store, Micro Valley, and Gadget King. GCash and Maya have introduced their cashless payment schemes to wet markets in Bohol. GCash CEO Martha Sazon said this allows merchants to put up their respective QR codes to entice more buyers. Maya, head of enterprise business Mar Lazaro, said this also enables vendors to access banking services as well. The e-wallet giants hope to reach more small shops and even tricycle drivers for their cashless payment features. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online, or visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now. That's at www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Dani Laurel. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.